Welcome back, everyone, to the OT Radio Show, where the conversations are real, the stories are powerful, and the voices they matter. And tonight, this is not just another interview. This is a story about survival. This is a story about truth, and this is a story that every single person needs to hear. We're talking about Black maternity going on, health crisis going on in this community this week. Black maternity health crisis, right? So why not bring someone on who talks about it, who lived it? She survived what they call near miss birth experience, something that's nearly costed her life. And instead of her being silent about it, she turned her pain into purpose. Remember, purpose, y'all. She's the founder and executive director of Oshun Family Center. And she a therapist, y'all. You see, she get busy, y'all. She gets busy. You know what I mean? She gets busy. And she a national speaker. And she a true advocate when it comes to Black mothers everywhere. So when it comes down to fighting for Black birth families, she is on the front line. So tonight, y'all, I want y'all to take this time out, tap in, share it, like, tell a friend and tell a friend and tell a friend, and help me welcome here on the show, Miss Saleemah McNeil. How are you feeling today?
Thank you so much. I'm very excited. Black Maternal Health Week kicked off on Saturday, and the events have been going crazy. Like, we've had so many people come through and just be appreciative of the aesthetic, the community, and the space that we're curating. So I'm filled with joy right now. That's how I come in here.
Hey, listen, I love it. I love it. I love it. So let's talk about a little bit of it. So, you describe yourself as a near miss. Let's take us back to that moment.
Yes. Actually, they, as in the healthcare system,
Mhm.
medically describe me as a near miss. I didn't know what that meant and or understand the magnitude of how my birth story really impacted my life. I was nearly gone. My son was nearly gone as well because my health had deteriorated significantly during labor and delivery. So 20 years ago, believe it or not, yes,
Yeah.
20 years ago. Actually on April 5th to be exact, bringing my
Wow.
son into this world was a whirlwind. I had an idea of what type of birth I wanted to have. I discussed it with my providers, had a pseudo birth plan, like not a stickler like it's going to go exactly like this, but how it went was not anything that I could have fathomed or even prepared for. I had an emergency C-section because my blood pressure was 202 over 153, which was
Ooh.
stroke range.
Mm-hmm.
And the aftermath of that, I was just left confused and as a new parent, and I didn't know how to heal my body and effectively like raise my son at the same time. I was like, how do you do all of this? And I am struggling. So I figured out a way to get it done.
Wow. Wow. So, how does this traumatic experience, right, impact you as a mother mentally and
Mm.
emotionally?
It was very, I go with the word as simply as possible as trippy because
Mhm.
again, I had this idea of what it would look like when I met my son, and it didn't look like that. I felt like I was presented with a baby versus having my child.
Mhm.
Um, and that really impacted like bonding afterwards
Mm.
because I just got into the mindset of like, here's the day in and day out. Like, I'm responsible for keeping him alive and feeding him and changing him. But I didn't really feel a connection. And I was like,
Mhm.
well, what happened, to that moment when you meet your kid for the first time and it's like love at first sight?
Mhm.
And I was like, huh, I didn't really feel that way. Loved him, wanted him, he was here, but it just was like, where was that chemistry? It just went boom, we are love at first sight. And
Right.
so that mentally was a challenge. And I feared even talking about the hard days in postpartum because I didn't want to be seen as an unfit mother, but I knew that I was just struggling emotionally and I wasn't sure where to put those feelings. And so I gathered a community behind me and slowly but surely started to open up more and lean on my village. And leaning
Mm-hmm.
on that village was like, hey, I need a break. Can you come get him? And then the
Mm-hmm.
village was leaning in, like, okay, we know that it's tough. We know that you still got school and work and all the things. And people showed up, and I really started to feel the weight begin to lift off because the heaviness of doing it all yourself was no longer a factor.
Wow. Wow. See, these are stories that, has not been told. And I'm
Yeah,
glad that you're on because you're telling these stories and you're telling the truth about what's going on. See, as a man, we wouldn't know these things, right?
yeah.
And listening and talking to you about it, it really gives us more insight about what is going on. So I gotta ask this question,
Please.
was was there a moment that you realized that this is just not a story? This is bigger than me.
Yes. But that moment didn't come till years later.
Mm-hmm.
So I had begun working in the maternal health field, loved it, worked in OBGYN office, and then I started to see the cracks in the system.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started to see the injustices. We were turning pregnant women away. We were not providing services to everybody. There was a divide in how people were treated based on their insurance. And I
Mm-hmm.
was like, whoa, this is terrible. And so I came out of the healthcare system thinking if I got into social service work, that I would be able to make an impact on the patients versus the system. And so I became a doula and a lactation consultant, and I even got madder because I worked in a correctional
Mm-hmm.
facility as a doula and a parenting education facilitator. And I was like, no way. I am going to the hospital with my clients and they are shackled to a bed while they're giving birth to their children. This is
Mm.
even worse than I could have ever thought. We hear these stories like on TV or they're in books and we think that they're so far fetched that they really don't exist. But I
Right.
experienced that and I was like, oh no, I'm really going to do my big one with trying to heal the community and to help minimize any Black woman to ever have to experience this again. And that's how the
Wow.
organization came about.
Wow. I mean, being shackled while you giving birth is
I
what?
was
Yeah.
appalled.
Wow.
I used to have to fight with the COs. I'm like, call your captain. Here is the law. I used to have to walk around with the bill. So
Mm.
when I got there, I'm like, here is the law that says you are not allowed to do this. Call your captain and unshackle her.
Damn.
And that
Shoo.
was just a heart-wrenching job to have, but that ignited the passion and had
Mm-hmm.
enough fuel that was anger to be where I am today to help in a completely different capacity.
Well, since it's maternal week, right? Let's talk about these real issues because it's time to
Yes.
talk about these real issues. Um, why are Black women still dying at a higher rate during childbirth in 2026?
Yes. In Philadelphia, 73% of the maternal deaths are accounted for under the mental health. And when we talk about mental health, it isn't just depression that leads to suicidality, but it's also opioid use and substance use disorder.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a disorder that a lot of people get wrong in terms of who it impacts. In Philadelphia, we have a very diverse community of people. So to just think that it impacts them and it doesn't impact us is a fallacy in our thought process because the opioid use and substance use disorder crisis is driving up maternal health deaths,
Wow.
especially in Philadelphia County. And then the
Mm-hmm.
other things are cardiovascular disease. And we cannot, I would be remiss if I didn't mention racism. That's at
Mm-hmm.
the core of it. That's in the books, that's in the teachings, that's in the system. And
Mm-hmm.
so because that is it, we got a nut because they bucked. And the
Yeah.
system has to change. And that's what we work so hard to do because my children, my grandchildren, my grandchildren's children shouldn't still have to deal with these issues where today any child that's born today, any woman that's born today, any girl has less rights over her body to be autonomous than our grandmothers did 60 years
Mm.
ago.
Wow. Wow.
It's not a great time at all.
No, it's not. It's not. And I know you talked a little bit about racism, and do you
Mhm.
believe that this neglect is systematically racism, or is it both?
It's both because if we look at the long tenure and relationship of Black people with the healthcare system, it hasn't been great. We have been lied to, tested on, abused. We have been experimented on against our will. And
Hmm.
so our grandmothers and grandfathers didn't really have trust in the health system because they grew up during the Tuskegee experiments, which was just what 1930 to 1940.
40? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, 1930s, 1940s. So like long ago, but not really that long ago. We still know people's lineage that has been impacted in that way.
Hmm.
Henrietta Lacks, her family is just starting to get the acknowledgement and to speak so frankly, reparations that they deserve because
Hmm.
so many Black women and OBGYN care as a whole has been impacted because of the cells that were extracted from Henrietta Lacks. We live today on her,
Hmm.
but we don't often say her name, but the doctors who were able to steal her cells.
Yeah, yeah. Preach.
Mhm.
Hold up. Preach. Preach.
Don't get me in my bag,
Preach.
please.
Listen. 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 We need that bag. We need that bag nicely full because these are things that are not talked about. These are things that needs to be talked about. So, what is the hospital and the healthcare system still getting wrong today?
Oh my goodness.
Let's talk
If
about it.
if
Talk
a
about it.
system, if a person was to be stuck in their ways, oh my gosh. A lot of hospital systems, we rely on science, right?
Hmm.
And they look to the science and the data and the numbers more than they look to the people. And so we've had to work with our hospital partners on learning better strategies to know and or understand the person, the patient, the experience as an individual within the full context of the science. Outside of being experimented on, there is not a lot of research for us in the Black community by us in the Black community. So what we've done here at Oshun Family Center is to make sure that we embody that. So we do clinical trials on Black bodies in collaboration with hospital systems.
Hmm.
And we have seen how hard it is to make shift happen because people are so stuck in their ways. The systems are so stuck in their ways. We could get all of the support of the nurses, and the middle management is like, no, we don't want to do that. Or you can get a few doctors that are interested and it's a part of their academic rigor and what they're responsible for. But ultimately it's voluntary, and it's another system where you need grave support to make the shift happen. And
Hmm.
so being stuck and thinking that your silence is not complicity, and that's the challenge.
Mm, So, what are things that we can do in the community to talk about things like this that is going on systematically and what is going on hospital wise and healthcare? What are some of the things that we can do since you are very much in the forefront
Mhm.
of it? Tell our listeners and tell people that's going to be watching the replay and people that's probably going to pick it up later on. Um, Tell them some things that we can do.
A few things is having platforms like yours that allow us to come and share, to raise awareness, especially during weeks like this where it's very communal. Another thing is, don't go to the hospital, don't go to the doctor's office by yourself. If you don't have to, because relying on one brain isn't always that effective. You can forget stuff, you can not fully understand something, you can have the opportunity to have a different perspective when the doctor is even talking to you. That is more powerful. That community, that accountability, because there's someone else in the room, is
Mhm,
palatable. And
mhm,
that scares health systems because, oh, it's not just what I'm saying to this person, it is what I've said to both of them. And now I
mm,
got to be accountable because I can't just brush it off to say, like, oh, no, they got it wrong or she got it wrong. No, you told multiple people this. So I
Mhm.
always say don't go to the doctors by yourself. A lot of people who are millennials, they are now getting into taking care of their parents and seeing how hard it is when your parents don't listen. God rest both of my parents' soul. And it goes both ways.
Mhm.
Childbirth, throughout childhood, even in adulthood, you just need a little support. And then,
Mhm.
last but certainly not least, get your voice heard. Our legislators, our city council people, our state reps, they don't know what we want if we don't tell them. They don't
Mhm.
know what issues that are impacting our communities if we aren't showing up to the budget hearings that are currently going on because it's budget season down at City Hall. They are working to pass the mayor's budget that has
Mhm.
to go through several channels. And what the community fails to realize, especially our young folks, is that our voices are the ones that they need in order to put things in place to treat us right, to spend our tax dollars accordingly. So please get out there. Say what it is that you need, state your case, advocate for yourself, and speak up and speak out every chance you get because somebody will be listening.
I know that's right. I know that's right. Let's talk about how this family center started, because you only asked for 5,000, but the village and the community spoke it.
They sure did.
I mean, they spoke real loud and direct. So, what inspired you to create, Ocean Family Center?
Mhm. Oshun Family Center has existed since 2018, and it was my last year in grad school because I had left the jail, and I told
Hmm.
my ladies, I'm gonna go become a therapist because I can help you get to the core of the issues that have been bringing you back time after time, or the trauma that is just so stored and impacted in your body that you are unable to make good decisions. So I
Hmm.
became a therapist to work in this maternal health field to help parents understand themselves in the context of parenthood and not losing that individuality while they are raising a little one. So,
Hmm.
as a compilation of my stories, the community stories, my friends, and my family, Oshun Family Center was born. I thought long and I thought hard about the target population I wanted to serve, and I always knew that it would be us that I
Hmm.
would lend my expertise to. And so in 2018, we launched the organization, and 2 years later, in 2020, when COVID hit, I was booked and busy. Like I am truly a therapist for the culture. I love, love, love doing therapy, and so I seen our city on fire
Hmm.
Memorial Day weekend in the wake of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor. Um, and it was devastating. I was watching on the news the outward display of emotion that was palatable throughout the entire city. And so
Hmm.
that's why I did the fundraiser. I said, you know what? Talk to my board. Said if I can raise $5,000, I will provide as much free therapy as I can to members of the Black community who are impacted by racial trauma. And I
Hmm.
posted it, and within 24 hours I had like $10,000, and then it was $17,000, and I'm like, "Oh my goodness." I went viral, and a few celebrities that were from the area started resharing our post, and PayPal thought I was selling something now. They said, "Prove your product." What is your product? Why is this money rolling in?
Right, right.
And I was like, I'm a nonprofit. I'm doing a fundraiser. And I actually wound up raising $187,000 in 10 weeks
Mm.
over that summer of 2020. And that has given us the stability that we needed for us
Mhm.
to be the new owners of a 7,500 square foot raw industrial building. Cause
Mm.
I bought a building, y'all.
Mm.
So in April 1st, 2025, I closed on a building in Kensington that will serve as a enhancement to the standard of prenatal care here in Philadelphia.
Oh, I love that. I love that. I love that. So when will be the grand opening?
I'm gonna go with late 2027.
Okay.
We have about a 4 million, $3.9 million construction budget. I got
Okay.
about $1.7 million in grant fundings and contributions. So we are still trucking along to raise this money
I love
for
it.
our renovation of the building, but it is
Mhm.
coming. It's necessary, and it
Yes.
really is a hub to address this Black maternal health crisis in the city and throughout the Commonwealth.
Now, you being a therapist, how important is it to have therapy in the community, especially when it comes down to this is maternal week, especially when it comes down to this right here.
It's so important. Honestly, when I was in school, I was told that the hardest population of people to engage with and retain in therapy was Black people.
Mm,
It's so hard to get Black people in therapy. It's so hard to treat Black people. And of course, I'm looking at my white counterparts be the teachers of this said research. And it just made me double down harder to make sure that I was accessible, make sure that I was visible, and make sure that I was in the community. How you see me is how I show up, and I love my people down. So having mental health support now in the community is actually more acceptable. I haven't had a day that I wasn't booked and busy since 2018, and I have a primarily Black population of people who comes to see me. So
mhm,
now I have 6 other therapists who also
mm.
practice that are employed full time with the organization that help bring these services to the communities that need it at large.
I love that. I love that because that was always a stigma when it comes down to the Black community was, yo, dude, you go see a therapist, that means you're crazy. Right.
No.
Right. No, no, no. I'm talking about that was the stigma back then. Now it's totally different now. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Because now the stigma now is we are seeing more people get into their mental health stage now than what we seen
Yes.
in the 70s and what we
Oh,
seen in
by
the
far.
80s, right?
Mhm.
So that's what I mean when I say, it was frowned upon back in the 70s and 80s and the 90s. Like, oh, dude, what? You gonna go see a therapist? Like, are you good? You dig what I'm saying? But
No,
now,
sometimes we not.
not right, exactly. And I am happy that a lot of us are going to go seek therapists, seek y'all.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Because it's much needed. Now let's talk about our therapist though, right?
Mhm.
Because you dealing with everybody's situations.
Mhm.
How do you, how can I say this? And I'm gonna say it real gently, right?
Okay.
How do you decompress on
How
your
do I
death?
decompress? So
Yes.
here's the thing. As a therapist, I love doing therapy. So to sit hour after hour, I know it may sound crazy, right? I can sit hour after hour and be all in people's business. I 100% like used to love Housewives of Atlanta, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I can sit and watch Housewives of Atlanta because I'm so nosy, right?
Right.
So I'm a nosy therapist. That is actually my respite. I'm like, oh,
Ah.
I can just sit here, just tell me all the things. Now, what I do need to decompress from is going to get the money. That's
Mm,
harder. That's a
mhm,
different game. That is harder to just be authentic in a space when it's very transactional. I need the
mhm.
support from you. I need the support from our organization. We're here on business, right? We gotta
Right.
just stand on business. And so that is what I have to decompress from. And
Mhm,
what I do is I travel often, as much as I can. This is a bit of a crazier time than usual.
mhm,
Also, gardening a little bit helps, making sure that we are taking care of ourselves inside and out.
mhm.
And I am a put your feet in the grass girl. This nice weather, yes,
Uh-huh.
I be outside barefoot in the grass, not walking on the street.
I love that. I love that. I love that. So, oh man, listen. I mean, your story is phenomenal. What you're doing in the community is what is needed,
Thank
definitely
you.
in the community, and I appreciate you. How can people volunteer? Like, let's talk about that because there's people out there that would love to volunteer. There's people out there that would love to do some things. How can they get in touch with you, and what are the criteria that you are looking for when it comes down to being a volunteer?
That is such an important question. So I appreciate you for bringing it up. One, staying connected with us. If you are following us on our social media platforms, very active on Instagram, and being signed up for our newsletter. We send out monthly newsletters with updates. Volunteers make our job go round. We are a small nonprofit. I have a staff of 9, and then I have about another 7 contractors. So we are a small yet mighty team. So this week, particularly, we had a baby boutique that we constructed where we served over 200 people. We had 50 volunteers. We could not have done that without the support of the community. We head up to Harrisburg tomorrow. Today we
Mhm.
had a maternal health summit where we had another 30 volunteers. You know, we have the idea, we have the mission, we have the events, but the people who show up and roll up their sleeves and they're greeters, they're people at registration, they're helping you get to your destination. For the baby shower, we had some people that was picking stuff up and putting it down because we had over 60 boxes of baby supplies that included car seats and packing plays, and diapers. And so we needed the strong people to come through. And so
Right.
that criteria was being at least a morning person and able to pick up 10 pounds. The afternoon criteria is like, hey, if you are an extrovert and you like meeting the people and talking to them, this is for you. Or if you want to come in on a on a cleanup, then that's cool too. So we just have an array of things that you can do, particularly during Black Maternal Health Week, to help us be successful.
Mm-hmm. So I want to talk to you because you talked about creating a seat at the table.
Mm,
Hmm.
I built the table. I said, I don't know your audience. I gotta make sure I'm
Nah,
trying to keep it together.
like,
But
no. See. This is the reason why I tell people, right? When you come on here, be who you are, right? Because see, this is live, so we don't edit nothing. What you see is what you get, right?
yeah.
And your voice matters. Your mission, your purpose, and your voice matter here. So at the end of the day, we want all that to come out. We want everything. So when you talk about creating a seat at the table, but you already made the table, what do it really look like in your work?
As a millennial, we have a bit of grind in us, right?
Mm-hmm.
Some of it might be a little toxic because we will grind it down. And I read a book by a real estate guru, and it was the name of the book was like "Be Obsessed or Be Averaged." And I was like, okay. So I read the book and it said if you are new in the field, if you are an entrepreneur, if you're starting a business, you should be in every place that is talking about that business.
Mm.
And that is what I took out of the entire book. And so I was. I said, you know what? I knocked on doors. I sent emails. Hey, you're doing this thing. Can I come sit in on this? Or, hey, I am a therapist. I'm a reproductive psychotherapist, to be more specific. And I got a background as being a doula. You got to lead with your credentials and the things
Mm-hmm.
that you've done. And I slowly but surely started to kick those doors open and sit at those tables. And then I realized I don't like any of these tables.
Yeah.
I gotta go build my own because the
Facts.
trajectory that we're on will be oppressed if
Mm.
solely in this system. And this is
Mm-hmm.
exactly what we're fighting against. So I went and built the table. Oshun
Mm-hmm.
Family Center is the table. The Maternal Wellness Village is the table. And then I spent my own time going out and meeting other birth workers and asking about their expertise and what they wanted to see in the community. And then we came together and put a collective vision for maternal health, and that is the current research that we have with the Change of Heart study, where we're doing cardiovascular risk reduction research with Black and Brown families at Temple University, and have been doing that for the last 5 years.
Mm. See you representing. I love it. I love it.
Yes.
So, what should every black woman know before giving birth?
Ooh, I will go with every Black woman or womb holder should know before
Hold it.
even
I love
getting
that.
pregnant
Mm-hmm.
is who your provider will be.
Mm.
Establish a relationship with somebody that you trust. You are literally putting your life and your little one's life in this person's hands. And so
Mm-hmm.
you are accepting their expertise. This is a relationship. I used to tell my doctors, like, if I had any emergent issues going on, I'm like, hey, you might be new on the scene, but if we can't have a good conversation, if you can't share with me a little bit and make this experience human, we can't go further because you don't hear me. There is no human in your approach, and I don't trust you, to be honest. And
Mm-hmm.
so I've had very difficult experiences in the hospital system. And I've had some stellar experiences where I'm like, that should and is the blueprint, and people just are not following it.
Mm,
So before you even get pregnant, just making sure that you're establishing care with a provider that you actually trust, and unfortunately having a backup as well. They don't really let you like hop around to try all these OBGYNs, but an OBGYN is an obstetrical doctor. You can also have a midwife. A midwife is still a clinical person who can get you all the way through your pregnancy and postpartum period, because it's a different model of care to get to the same goal, which is a healthy mom and a healthy baby. So just
mm,
exploring your options, understanding what they are, and establishing your village, because no, we cannot do it alone. It historically, it just has not been in our DNA to do this stuff alone.
mm-hmm.
Parenting is not a journey that you should take by yourself. You don't have to have a partner, an intimate partner, but you should have a village, even if it's a small village. Those are still mighty.
Mm-hmm. Now, you said something real intriguing to me. You said that there's a blueprint, but people are not following it.
No.
Let's talk about that blueprint and why do you think people not following it?
People don't follow it because it pushes the status quo.
Mm,
If you are patient centered, if you are centering the human that's in front of you and not the symptom that you're hearing, then that requires you to also bring your human to this experience. And the medical system, and even as a therapist, they teach us as emotional masters to be disconnected from your clients. You shouldn't hug your clients when you're make sure there's enough distance for safety reasons between you and your client. You don't touch them. This is a very remote type of robotic experience. We therapists for the culture, we go to baby showers. You're not going to tell me that I have spent X amount of time counseling and providing therapy to this couple who is now married and they now have a child on the way. You want to tell me I ain't going to the baby shower? I sure am. That ethics code does not dictate how I get to show up fully for my families. Oh, we
mm-hmm,
give cases of Pampers and books and all types of stuff, because we throw community baby showers. So people come to us because we also have a familiar feeling.
mm-hmm.
So the hospital system as a whole, and therapists are a part of a healthcare system,
Yeah.
unfortunately, there is just this disconnect. And so the blueprint is not that. It is to be trauma informed and patient centered. We've rewritten that. And we know that there are effective ways of serving people that push against the status quo of how you should treat people. And we say no more.
Mm, mm. Let's talk about something that really gets to me, especially when it comes down to the community, right? And why is it so important for Black birth workers to support each other instead of like competing with each other? Because we all on the same vision, we all on the same purpose. Why is it so important for that?
I think it's so silly for birth workers to compete with one another because ultimately it is the client who decides where they go.
Mhm,
I am never in competition with the next person. I'm never in competition with the next organization because clients are exactly where they want to be. I even tell my staff, I'm like, if a client wants to be discharged and they want to go to another practice, it's not a loss. It is them empowering themselves to understand that this has been fine or it hasn't been, but I'm going to choose me and go find somebody that actually serves me well, and that's okay, because that's what we want people to do. We want them to be autonomous. We want them to take care of themselves. And we want them to know that wherever you go to get your treatment is fine with me as long as you're getting their treatment and you are getting what it is that you deserve.
mhm.
So it's always collaboration over competition for me, because competition where I'm out here killing it.
I love it. I love it. Now, how can partners and families and community better support Black mothers? Because I know sometimes we turn these blind eyes and we don't see it, but we really do need to support. How can we support better with some of the things we can do?
So I think one would be listening, and then on the other hand, telling our stories. We don't listen to our elders enough. We actually get annoyed because they're telling the same story over and over again. But so what? There's so much wisdom and gems in those experiences. I never forget one Black Maternal Health Week. Honestly, I think it was the first or second Black Maternal Health Week. Shout out to Portia at Reclaim Black Motherhood. She had four generations of her family in the room, and her grandmother at the time did not participate. She was like, "Oh, y'all got it. Y'all be in a circle. I'll just be over here with the kids." We're like, "Okay." We get to the end. And again, it was her grandmother, her mother, her, and her daughter. So four generations of
Hmm.
preeclampsia survivors in
Mm.
the room. And we get to the end, and her grandmother, in the most angelic voice, says, "I had the same story. And I never thought that it was anything for me to report on because it was just the way they treated us." And
Wow.
to hear that it's still happening and this is the impact is heartbreaking. And that was like one of the only things that she said all night. She was just with the kids and off to the side, and to just realize that four generations in, and we're still treating preeclampsia the same way. We're still treating, and it may not, I'm not talking specifically in science, how the
Hmm.
doctors are treating it, but the social emotional part of it. Like when you almost lose your life, it is devastating to deal with, and to know that her daughter, who was in her 50s, was in the room, and she was
Hmm.
talking about also being a survivor, was just really eye-opening.
Wow. Four generations.
Four generations.
Mm, mm, mm. Now that goes to this question right here. If someone was watching and feeling unheard or afraid, what would you say to them right now?
I would say your feelings are valid. These are very scary times, and being afraid is warranted. We should lead with caution. However, there are services and supports for you. Please don't give up. If you have a provider and you don't like them, fire them. Your
Mm,
insurance pays them. They should be listening to you. I understand we are within a broken system, and it's hard to get into doctor's offices, and it's hard to get appointments. But guess what? Some parts of life is just hard, but this one is worth fighting for, because making the mistake of being with the wrong provider can literally cost you your life. So that fight that you got in you, connect with a community-based organization. We're like the intermediaries. You have like the hospitals and the legislators and all of that, but community-based organizations like myself over here at Oshun Family Center, the Maternal Wellness Village, Reclaim Black Motherhood, Maternity Care Coalition, A Home for Shauna, Once Upon a Preemie. I can go on, because there's so many services that are Black-led services in the community that are here just waiting for you to call, to need the service, to be brave enough to take the next step. So don't give up, and know that just because you have a doctor, a doula, a lactation consultant, a therapist, therapy is a vibe. If you can't vibe out with your therapist and you don't want to tell them your story when you get on the line every week, that's not the therapist for you. Fire them too. Yes. Find your
yeah,
person.
yeah, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah. So, what do real change look like for you in the next 2 to 5 years?
Oh, real change. I have been blessed to be a part of change that is incremental over this last decade, however effective. Blood pressure monitors are now a part of legislation in which healthcare systems, including insurance companies, are mandated to make sure that families have blood pressure cuffs when they are going home. We didn't have that before. We have more initiatives that encourage our families to breastfeed and provide them that service, because our milk is the first milk, is the best milk for those who can, right? If
Hmm.
you can't, that's totally fine. But if you can, sure, giving it a shot. So it's just really important overall to make sure and connect with those people and services that exist, because we are out here for you, and it really does impact and change the system as a whole. The new doctors that are coming up, we have the opportunity to train them, the residents, the nurses. They are more aware of people and their experiences, and they are leading the charge and making the change. And so, in the next 2 to 5 years, I would love to see a more permanent legacy bound change in Philadelphia, which will be predicated on us opening the doors to the maternal wellness village, and having a more collective effort with community based organizations, hospital systems, education systems, and judicial systems, all working together so Black birthing families are not dying 3 to 4 times higher than our white counterparts.
Now you list a whole bunch of programs and centers for the average person today. Where can they find these things at? Because a lot of times you be looking and you be searching, and one thing might pop up. And I always say they hide things in plain sight
Mm-hmm.
all the time, right? So where are some of the places that people can look at and find it, and where can they find them at? Just like your center, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you list a bunch of them. I mean, you started going down the line. For a minute, I was like, yo, my hands can't type that fast. I'm like, yo, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So let's talk about these places. Like, where can they find these places? You know what I mean? If they are in the Philadelphia area, where some of these places located at? Where can you reach them at? Like, because you're the big book. I'm gonna call you the big book right now. You know what I mean? You got all the information. So, and I'm happy that you on during this maternal week, because you are giving us the information. So where can people find some of this information at?
Well, most people have the information at their fingertips on their phones. A lot of these organizations are active on social media, whether it be their TikTok channels and or Facebook or Instagram and Google, honestly. But that part does get tricky because you have to know what you're looking for, right?
Yep.
So you have to know the type of service that you want to get in order to kind of navigate that. So I would say if you have a general idea, like if you are postpartum, if you did just have a baby and you're looking for support, Google words that are like maternal health support or mommy groups or things of that sort, because these are in the SEOs, these search engine optimizations that says that these keywords, if you're looking for it, your organization should pop up. That's really geek back end stuff. But if you search up Oshun or you search up reproductive psychotherapist in Philly, we pop up. And so another thing is getting outside. Eventbrite ironically is a really great place as well, because we often post all of our events on Eventbrite, and it's a marketing tool as well. And you can just get on there, scroll and see what's happening. Like where is it a legacy walk happening? Where is it a baby shower happening? The community at large has no clue how many community baby showers happen within the city of Philadelphia. I can
Mm-hmm.
name 5 community baby showers that just happened over the weekend. And there were
Wow.
lines of people waiting to get that stuff. Like, we be outside, y'all. Come find us. All of those organizations that I just listed either did events already or
Mm-hmm.
have events planned for this week and function throughout the entire year.
Mm, Hey, like you said, they outside. Y'all got to get outside. Get outside.
Yes.
Get
Go to those
outside.
resource fairs.
Listen,
Go to
get-
those night markets. We got tables at all those places.
See?
Get down to FDR Park.
Oh, listen. She talking. She
We
talking
out
loud and clear.
here.
She talking out here. All right. So tell people where they can find you at on social media, websites.
Yes, you can find us at oshunfamilycenter.org or Oshun underscore family underscore center on Instagram. We got a little TikTok going. It's not really a whole lot, but please, you can find us on Oshun Family Center on TikTok as well. And then go to our website and sign up for our newsletter. You'll get a monthly update on things that we got going on, different programs, and highlights of the things that we're doing for Oshun around town. Because we really pop up throughout the spring and the summer at different
Mhm.
locations in the city of Philadelphia. And we do what we call checkups from the neck up, which
Mm,
is we just meet the community where they are. We might go out on Kelly Drive and pop up a table and just sit there and tell people we're therapists and come over and talk to me. Just have a conversation about what's going on today or anything to break the ice for mental health. And so we do that all around town throughout the spring and the summer to meet the community where they are. And we will also be there FDR Park throughout the summer twice in a month,
Mhm.
June, July, and August, to just come up and talk to us. We're not diagnosing you with nothing yet, but we definitely will have a conversation, break the ice, and give you the opportunity to genuinely meet a therapist and see how it could go. Because we really dope people out here.
Yeah, yeah, that's a fact. That's a fact. That's definitely a fact on that one. I mean, we appreciate you so much for joining us here on the show. But before
Thank
you go,
you.
because this is Maternal Health Week,
Mhm.
what are some of the things that is going on in Philadelphia that you are a part of for this week?
Oh, all right. So I told y'all a little bit about the baby boutique that happened on Saturday. Today we had a maternal health summit. It was so good. Oh my goodness, I'm still gleaming from that. Tomorrow we getting on a bus, y'all. We's going up to Harrisburg. You can also catch me on Fox 29 tomorrow morning, live at 7:30. We will be coming back to have a night of truth telling with Dr. Dorothy Roberts, who is the author of Killing the Black Body. And then on Thursday, we're at City Hall for a resolution hearing because our council woman, Catherine Gilmore Richardson, is introducing a Black Maternal Health Week resolution. So we're going to have breakfast. And then Friday, we are celebrating 10 years in this Black maternal health movement with a brunch. We are
Mm.
having a Bridgerton themed brunch to celebrate 10 years in this Black maternal health movement and the end of Black Maternal Health Week 2026. So if you've never celebrated with us before, you are truly missing out on an opportunity to be in community. And if you want to celebrate with us, please just hit our line.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Well, listen, thank you so much for joining us here on the show. We appreciate you so much. Keep doing everything that you're doing in the community. We need you. We appreciate you. And listen, we here. We here. The OT Radio Show
Thank
is here.
you.
So
I
anything
believe
that you
it.
listen, everything, anything that you need from us, you got anything that's going on, pop up, let us know. We'll reach out to your publicists to get everything all situated and stuff like that. And
Yes.
keep us in the loop. Please keep us in the loop because we do a lot of stuff in the community too. So keep us in the loop, especially. And it's crazy because I have a scholarship for anyone in the healthcare profession, high school kids. So, but
Nice.
yeah, we're going on 3 years.
Yes.
We actually about to start it back up in June. This will be our third year doing the scholarships. We started out with
Mhm.
one, then we end up having two, then we end up having three. Now the purpose is to have
Congrats.
four. So we here, we here. So
Absolutely.
let's definitely connect. I'll reach out to your publicist and get out all the information and she'll send you the information because I always like to do everything the right way, right?
Thank
So
you.
I'm always doing things the right way. So we'll definitely do that. But anything else you want to say? You know what I mean? Here on the OT
Yes.
Radio Show, let's talk.
Oh God, my team will kill me if I didn't say it, but I would be remiss if I don't mention that if you all do want to support us, you can click the donate button on our website to support our efforts to get the building out, to have our services uplifted and or to service the community. So hit our PayPal link, donate what you can and be in community with us, both monetarily and volunteerism because they both make us go around. So again, my name is Saleemah McNeil. I'm the founder and executive director of Oshun Family Center. And I see y'all on the interwebs.
I feel that. I feel that. But before we go, like OT always say, if someone asks you how you doing, you always tell them you're doing better than yesterday. And remember, your vision, your purpose, and your voice matters. So, like your boy OT always say, hey, I'll see y'all tomorrow. Same time, same place. Here on the OT Radio Show. Peace. Appreciate you, Miss Lima. Peace.
Thank you.